بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Today's recitation being the 6th juz and the first quarter of the 7th juz. Today's recitation consisted of Suratul Ma'idah. Suratul Ma'idah is one of the lengthy Madani surahs, and it is one of the surahs which were the last to be revealed. The majority of this surah was revealed after Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, meaning the treaty which took place between Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Muslims, and the people of Makkah in the year 6th Hijri. So the majority of this surah was revealed after that, which means that in the last 4 years of the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this surah was revealed. And in this surah, being a Madani surah, and again being towards the latter part of the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, discusses and covers majority of the legislative laws and ahkam of Sharia. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions along with that certain aspects in regards to the people of the book, the Yahud and the Nasara, the Jews and the Christians. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of ahkam discusses the particular laws in regards to keeping up one's agreement which one has made, not to break one's agreement. Similarly, ahkam regarding slaughtering, regarding food which is halal, food which is haram, and laws of apostasy. And along with this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions the punishments, the legal punishments of the land, such as stealing and killing, etc. What are the laws in regards to this as well? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes into somewhat detail. وَالسَّارِقُ وَالسَّارِقَةُ فَقْطَعُوا أَيْدِيَهُمَا, that if a person steals, then his hand will be chopped off, etc. And people say that these laws are barbaric, but in reality it is to uphold the peace of the society, and it is to uphold the safety and the security of the society. And there are obviously certain conditions. It's not like somebody, he goes into a shop and steals a penny sweet or something and his hand gets chopped off or something like that. No, it's not as simple as that. To the extent that even if a person goes into the shop and steals something which is expensive, which is there on display, even then his hand will not get chopped off, because there are certain specific laws in regards to this, that the thing which is stolen has to be secure and hidden, etc. And then he goes out of his way to go into that particular thing. That particular thing needs to be of a certain value as well, of 10 dirhams, etc. Which going now, obviously the price of silver has decreased quite a bit. So modern day you're talking around £15. But if you were to make it equivalent to the previously, so it would be much more, it would be more towards £100, £150 possibly. So there are certain laws. It's not just a law that people say, oh look, if I steal a penny sweet, then does my hand get chopped off and stuff. This is lack of understanding of Sharia, and a person doesn't understand the ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, lack of fiqh, and taking just the ayat of the Quran from face value. This is why it is important that a person studies the Quran from ulama, studies the Quran from authentic sources of tafasir, and not just picking up the Quran and reading just the translation and trying to come to a conclusion that this is a particular verse of the Quran and this is what it means. Without the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one cannot understand the Quran. Unfortunately, we live in a time when people, they try to have these good slogans. There are certain individuals that call themselves the people of the Quran, for example. We are Ahlul Quran. and we follow the Quran. And the reality is that their belief is that we do not follow the ahadith. The reality is that they call themselves Ahlul Quran, but in reality they are the munkireen of the hujjiyatul ahadith, that they deny the authenticity of the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they say that, look, Quran is sufficient for us, we do not need the statement of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whereas this is completely wrong. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself states that I have been granted the Quran and I have been granted other which is similar to the Quran, and this refers to the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And how can a person understand the Quran without the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How can a person understand how to perform salat without ahadith? You tell me from the Quran how to perform salat. It is impossible to explain from the Quran how to perform salat. Similarly, how to give zakat. It is impossible from the Quran alone to say how an individual needs to give zakat. It is impossible. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just mentions aqimus salah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just mentions atu zakat. Where in the Quran does it say that Dhuhr there are 4 rakats first? Where in the Quran does it say that Asr there are 4 rakat first? Where in the Quran does it say Fajr there are 2 rakat first? Where in the Quran does it say that Isha there are... Rather, let me ask you, where in the Quran does it even mention Fajr, Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib and Isha? Specifically, explicitly. There are certain indications towards the 5 salats. But specifically, explicitly in the Quran, the 5 salat aren't even mentioned by name. So one cannot isolate the Quran from the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and say that no, the Quran is sufficient for us. You need the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these people, they say Ahlul Quran, we are the people of the Quran. But no, you can't. You are not the people of the Quran. You are denying the authority of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just as you get another group of people who say we are Ahlul Hadith. We are Ahlul Hadith. These people say we are Ahlul Hadith. We are the people of the Sunnah. We are the people of the Hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But these people in reality deny the authority of the Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. They deny the authenticity and the authority of the Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. When we tell them that, oh, look, Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, during his time, all the Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu ta'ala anhum unanimously accepted that Taraweeh Salat is 20 rak'ah, but they say, where is it in the Hadith? We are the people of the Hadith. We are Ahlul Hadith. So, they come out with these good slogans and saying, good names, Ahlul Quran, Ahlul Hadith, and through this they confuse simple-minded people, they confuse people who are not well grounded in deen and don't have a correct understanding and a foundation of deen, and then they think that, oh, actually, look, he's got a point, that yes, maybe just this or whatever, and then they say, the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they try to say that, oh, it wasn't until the time of Imam Bukhari that the hadith were actually written and things like this, which is completely false and completely wrong. But nevertheless, things like this they come out with, and then people get doubts and fall prey to this. So a person needs to be very vigilant in regards to this. So I was mentioning, I did go off on a bit of a tangent, that a person cannot just take the Quran and the verses of the Quran from face value. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was mentioning specific ahkam in regards to different things, qisas, etc. وَكَتَبْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ فِيهَا أَنَّ النَّفْسَ بِالنَّفْسِ وَالْعَيْنَ بِالْعَيْنِ وَالْأَنْفَ بِالْأَنْفِ, etc. And this is again to safeguard the security of the society, to make sure that there is safety there. Because when the punishment is there, which is severe, then a person will automatically think twice before committing a crime. And when the punishment and the penal system is very lenient, then unfortunately the crime rates are very, very high. Unfortunately, this is the situation. You get people doing petty crimes so that they can go into jail because they don't have hot meals at home during Christmas time. So they do petty crimes just before Christmas, go into jail for a few weeks or something, have some hot meals at Christmas time, and then come back out again. Right? Because they know that this is the penal system of this particular country and whatever. So they take advantage of this. Whereas Sharia, this is a divine system. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the human nature. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set down these laws. So Gandhi used to say, an eye for an eye and we shall all be blind. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no, an eye for an eye. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Why? Because if it's not an eye for an eye, we know we should be blind, but otherwise we'll all be blind anyway, because everybody will just go around cleaning. And, we get a situation like this, mass murders and, where people just go around killing people, etc. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set down divine laws. These are mentioned in this particular surah. The surah is also mentions 3 particular incidents specific in stories. One was the story of Banu Israel along with Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, and Musa alayhi salatu wasalam told his people that, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised you the land of Philistine, the land of Quds. You go, yes, there is a group of people there, go there and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you victory and you will get the land of Quds. But they were cowards, they didn't have the courage, and they said to Musa alayhi salam, we're not going to fight, we're not going there. So Musa alayhi salam, go, Allah has promised you victory, go. We'll all go, come on. So he says, no. اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنها هنا قاعدون. You and your Allah go, we'll just sit here and wait. When you get victorious, then just give us a shout, we'll come and join you. اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنا. We'll sit here and we'll watch. We'll spectate from here outside. You and your Allah go and fight. We'll see from here. And when you look in the books of Seerah, then subhanallah, when we listen to the khutbah of Miqdad ibn al-Aswad radiyallahu ta'ala anhu at the time of Badr, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asking for mashwara, that look, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made an agreement with the Ansar, the people of Medina, that you will protect me. I'll come to Medina, but on the condition that you'll protect me. So they said, yes, we'll protect you in Medina Munawwara. You have nothing to worry about. So Rasulullah migrated, and then Badr took place. But Badr was going to take place outside Medina Munawwara. And the agreement between Rasulullah and the Ansar was that we will protect you in Medina Munawwara. So Rasulullah was, obviously, he knew that my Sahaba would die for me anyway, but obviously he wanted them to come forward and give their position. So Rasulullah would ask, that what are your thoughts? We've just heard that the army is coming, because Rasulullah went out. I've discussed Badr in somewhat detail previously, but Rasulullah had no intention of fighting the army of Abu Jahl, because he wasn't even to come. There was a caravan of Abu Sufyan which was going to be attacked by Rasulullah, and then all of a sudden Abu Jahl's army, the news comes that he is coming. So Rasulullah was now sandwiched between the two, and he said, look, what do we do now? So Rasulullah said that, look, Abu Jahl's army is coming, what do you think? So Rasulullah asked them, and at that moment a few Sahabis stood up and they said, look, Ya Rasulullah, we're ready to fight for you, etc. But Rasulullah said, okay, Jazakallah, anybody else? So Rasulullah wanted somebody from the Ansar to speak, because the Muhajirin spoke first. So anyway, in that conversation, Miqdad ibn al-Aswad radiyallahu ta'ala anhu stood up, and he said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you are worried about us fighting for you, will we not, then don't worry. We will not say to you what the Banu Israel said to Musa, اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنا هاهنا قاعدون, that you and your Allah go, we're sitting here waiting. Rather, we will say to you, اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنا معكما مقاتلون. You and your Allah go and fight, because we are with you as well. And then he said, نُقَاتِلُ عَنْ يَمِينِ وَنُقَاتِلُ عَنْ يَسَارِ. We'll be on your right, we'll be on your left, we'll be in front of you, we'll be behind you. Wherever you wish to take us, Ya Rasulullah, we are ready to give our lives for you, Ya Rasulullah. This was the jazba of the Sahabi Kiram radiyallahu ta'ala. That is why they were blessed with the company of Rasulullah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew the qualities and the characteristics they had. So, اختارهم الله تعالى لصحبة نبيه. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala says, Allah specifically chose these individuals for the companionship of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That was one incident mentioned. Another incident mentioned was the very first sin and killing on the face of this earth, which was between the two sons of Adam alayhi salatu wassalam. And thereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the third incident upon which this surah is named Suratul Ma'idah. Ma'idah means the tablecloth, the sarkhan. So in this, the incident of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wassalam is mentioned, where his people asked that, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is he able to? هَلْ يَسْتَطِيعُ رَبُّكَ? Is your Allah able to send down a dastarkhan and a tablecloth full of food? So firstly, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam reprimanded them that this is not adab in asking. How can you say regarding Allah that is your Allah able to? This is not correct. You're not supposed to speak like this. This is incorrect. And nevertheless, he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down a dastarkhan and a tablecloth from the heavens, and the people partook of this particular meal. So this was another mu'jiza which was mentioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this. And then the surah will conclude, one ruku left. Inshallah, the surah will conclude tomorrow in regards to the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the subject of the Trinity of the Nasara and of the Christians. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this particular right at the end, that how can you call the mother of Isa alayhi salatu wassalam the mother of God? Na'udhu billah. This is not true, this is incorrect. They were both human beings, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them with miracles, but that doesn't make them God and doesn't give them divine status. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us correct understanding, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to connect with the Quran and have this relationship with the Quran, where we're not only reading the Quran, but we're understanding the Quran and we practice upon the Quran. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khairi khalqi Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi.